here with my good friend Mayor Michael Harmison, the mayor of Osage Beach. And better hurry because Mayor Harmison talked about buying this map as he leaves today.
I'm thinking I might.
So good chance it won't be here by the time you come tomorrow or this week. So I've got, as I said, Mayor Michael Harmison and Mayor Harmison, I'm thankful you took the time to join us. I mean, over the last few weeks since we talked last on What's Burning a few weeks ago, it looked like talks with the Outlet Mall and Harmison development we're going to pick back up with the city of Osage Beach. But since that time, I mean, just to give a few, the financial advisors, Legacy said no way, that both parties said they were going to talk again. Now Lake Expo comes out with a report that says deal is as good as dead. You cry fake news, they reply. I mean, so how do we unpackage all of this? And with that meeting last Thursday, what's the status of the Outlet Mall and how realistic is it this comes to fruition as far as a redevelopment?
All right. Well, hey, thanks for having me on, William.
Absolutely.
Always a pleasure. And yes, I'll probably buy that before I leave. But no, just so the public is clear, the city of Osage Beach, myself, the alderman, the city attorney, we all want that mall to be redeveloped. And when I say mall redeveloped, we're not talking about a brand new mall, because as we know, malls, as you know, are kind of dead with Amazon and online ordering. However, there's some malls that do not offer online. They're big box stores. So the whole concept is not dead at all. It will be redeveloped. They're talking about bringing some of the stores in the back, bringing towards the front, and then more family-oriented things at the back. I mean, some of the things kicked around were a Ferris wheel. People keep talking about pickleball, family-oriented things. It's going to happen. To answer your question with the legacy development and the current thing, they canceled the contract. I accepted it. There was a balance of $6,000 some dollars that they needed to pay to finish the deal. They did that. So them buying it based on the first funding agreement is over. Mm-hmm. I met with Dan Foster July 7th. He did tell me he wanted to start up again. I said, that's great. And since then, we heard nothing. And I was very surprised because he did share with me when their contract to buy extension date ended. He asked me not to share what that date was with anyone, which I haven't. But I do know that time's ticking away. I was surprised we hadn't heard anything, and I was really surprised when Lake Expo came out with their magazine article the other day that said basically everybody's waiting on the city's bad, and the city's killing this deal. And it's just the opposite. It was over, we were waiting to start again, and we heard nothing until that article came out.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, right now there's no deal on the table, but contrary to what you were told at the Alderman's meeting, and I encourage everybody, go to the city of Osage Beach. All of the Alderman meeting are live. They're recorded. If you go to the last one, about the first 10 minutes, you'll hear several people get up in defense of the mall, which we all agree. And then about 30 minutes in, I go into a tirade. I hadn't even planned on going on the tirade, but I was just at the point each week on my personal page, on the Facebook page, at the Alderman's meetings, I've made it clear what's going on. And for some reason, it's still not getting out there. So I went on a tirade and just kind of kept going. Watched it 2 or 3 times since, and I went on for about 10 minutes trying to address everything. But it was said at that meeting that no other developer had contacted the realtor. Not true. There are developers waiting. There are developers that want to assist. I was talking this morning with Regina, city administrator. I said, if nothing happens, what if the city buys it? And I said, I'm actually reaching out personally to Simon, who owns it, because I want to know, we keep hearing third party, and I'm going to pick up the phone and call somebody. Yeah. And so I'm going to call and find out what the deal is. If that contract is done, then I'm going to reach out to the other developers, or, again, I'd like to think outside the box.
So you're saying that the city of Osage Beach buying the Outlet Mall is not off the table?
We just talked about it this morning. Again, I'm a business guy, right? I'm not a politician. So that's the conversation I had with the city administrator today. I said, if the developers can't, why can't we buy it? I said, well, something to consider. So I don't want to start something.
Right.
It was a conversation we had. I said, we will get that mall developed. Each week people keep coming out and say, city, don't kill this deal. We need our jobs. We agree on it's not going to be killed.
Mayor Harmison, can you touch on when people outside that, and like myself, that this TIF and these bonds and the redevelopment agreement is just so convoluted and there's so many I's to dot and T's to cross, it could be tough to kind of understand. But there's concern on behalf of the city that with the way the TIF agreement was and legacy development involved, there was some concern based on some other projects legacy was involved in where you felt like extra diligence might be needed.
Correct. And not just that, this is the first TIF request where at the city of Osage Beach history where they wanted upfront pre-construction bonds, meaning they wanted several $1,000,000 for us to give them. They could literally use that money that we give them to buy the property. Everything else has been pay as you go. They pay to buy the property, they pay to start it, and then there's certain things that qualify for some of the TIF money, and then we pay them back over time. So due diligence was, in fact, it was interesting enough this weekend, and I'm a big boy, I can take it, but I had some criticism on Facebook from two different people locally, business people. One was business, one anyway, that criticized the city for not being very business savvy, don't understand business. One of those two has lost 3 businesses, has been bankrupt, has lost everything. And I'm thinking, had some of these people done the due diligence to check out who they entrust their money to, maybe they wouldn't be out of business.
Right.
That's all the city's trying to do. If somebody wants to invest, anybody can go buy that and develop it if they have their own money, their own bank. But if they're wanting millions of dollars city assistance, the city expects us to do our due diligence to make sure that they're a good risk for the city's money.
Yeah, and that brings me to last Thursday. You guys had that, I wouldn't say emergency, but that call to action, that meeting. It was a public hearing. The city of Alderman was there, yourself was there. And that was in regards to strengthening or tightening the requirements listed in the TIF agreement. What came out of that meeting Thursday?
And not even that so much, William. It was one of the aldermen. He's been a long-standing alderman. He reads the fine print. He likes stuff in print, and I'm not criticizing. He just liked to have cut and dry. Mm-hmm. He wanted to make the TIF policies generalized for everyone. Now, just so you understand, cities do not have to give a TIF. Cities have to follow a certain period of time, but the city of Osage Beach chose to do a TIF. So it's a policy, it's not a law. All he wanted to do was take a look at the policy, let's see if it's right or wrong, and he threw out what his thoughts were the very first discussion. And yes, it did come across as very strict based on, so we decided as a group, and I suggested to them, let's table this, let's kill this deal, and we are going to have a talk to, again, the city administrator. By the end of this week, we'll have a date. We're going to open session, we'll as long as it takes. This community be involved, it'll be filmed, open meeting, but much too important thing to do in a 45 hour and a half Alderman's meeting. And so it was never the intent to make it stricter for nobody. We want people to come here and build. But just to be clear, if there's a checklist, just because they check off the checklist does not mean they get the TIF.
Yeah.
That means the process will move forward, and then the financial experts will take a look at it and will come up with a workable, fair redevelopment agreement for payment.
Can we, to end this and kind of give a final thought, let's break it down to layman's terms. Let's say that the city of Osage Beach, the Board of Aldermen, allowed this to go through on the terms it was. What is the greatest fear or the biggest risk that we could be in as a city in 5 years, 10 years, should this project go belly up? What would that mean for the taxpayers? What would that mean for the city of Osage Beach? Just to kind of express and explain some of your guys' diligence and concern. It's not trying to prevent this from coming to fruition. It's making sure you can prevent something bad. What would that something bad look like in 10 years?
If something bad, worst case scenario, and again, I don't want to mean this project, but if the city gave a developer $25 million in pre-construction bonds, they give them the money, and then for whatever reason, they don't start the project. And the city tries to get that money back. They've already taken it and ran. Argument has been that, well, it's not on the city, it's on the bondholders. A lot of times that is true. However, if a city goes to get bonds too many times and you default on paying those bonds, then it's a red flag, just like on a credit risk. So to answer your question, you give them $25 million, they're tough to keep them. If they want to walk away, they can walk away. That's why pay-as-you-go is a much better option. You find out what they can qualify for. You've got $24, $64 million, whatever, but they have to list. It's got to be things that we can't simply go in and say, all right, we're going to pay for a brand new room or a brand new, it has to be things. For instance, if you built a brand new building, you have to put in all the tubing, all the pipe work, all the plumbing. An existing place that's already there, they're going to go ahead and help with certain funds, the parking lot, the plumbing, the sewer, all that sort of stuff. So difference is pre-construction bonds, they get the money. It's tough to get them from walking away.
That's right. All right, so that's what we're trying to prevent from happening. But you're confident that the outlet mall will be redeveloped. Give me I know you don't have a crystal ball, you can't tell for sure, but how soon do you think something will definitely move forward as far as the outlet mall being redeveloped?
It will be redeveloped, I can promise you that. And it will be. To answer your question, I don't have a crystal ball, but it's tough to say, but I would say within months. We need to first find out what they're going to do on this one, because right now my understanding is, and I've got to call into Simon who owns the property, because I want to hear directly from them.
Yeah.
But our understanding that the current contract is now done, So my question is it open for somebody else to buy now? I want to find out. So, but right now we need to wait. What if they're going to do anything or not? If they don't, then we can move forward. And once they say they're done, then I'm talking quick.
Well, we will make sure that we have Mayor Michael Harmison back on here on Cup of Coffee, because we're going to want to keep you guys updated as the city, as the voters, and as the taxpayers. So, Mayor Harmison, we thank you for your time.
Thanks so
much. Keep
much.
up the great work, man, and we'll look forward to catching up with you soon. We'll be back with the rest of Cup of Coffee after this.